What's up, Hokies? This is Coach Mike Holmes here, contributor with the Sons of Saturday, with the Hokie hitter of the week for the Florida State game. Even though the Hokies lost by 22, 39-17 to the Noles, that brings up bad memories if you're old like me, and and we're at the '99 national championship game, brings up even worse memories. But this game showed again how the Hokies continue to improve and grow every single week. And Tyler Bowen continues to create different plays to get our athletes the football in space. And this week's play is another example of just that. The running back screen that Malachi Thomas caught, believe it was in the third quarter, is an example of one of these plays where Tyler Bowen dials up motion combined with misdirection to get Florida State defenders out of the picture and allows our guys, our playmakers, to make plays. So let's start today's play by going over a little bit about the screen game in general. So normally in any type of screen game, especially a running back screen, the idea is to complete a pass behind the line of scrimmage to allow blockers to get downfield and engage with defenders and to kind of get them out of the way. And it's a kind of a way to kind of hide the running back a little bit behind a wall of blockers. Okay. Normally in your basic vanilla running back screen, the idea is to get the defensive line here to think it's a pass and basically invite them to go rush the quarterback. Normally we do not want, we don't really have to ask people to rush our quarterback. But in this case, we are intentionally inviting them. We want them to pin their ears back, go, think that they have every single possibility of getting a sack on this play. The other thing that we're doing is we're trying to convince the linebackers and the safeties in the secondary to also think it's a pass. And when they're doing that, they're dropping back in their coverage, and they're dropping back in their coverage lanes and their zones. And it also gives us more room to develop this play. Okay, so let's look at Florida State's layout of their defense. Okay, again, just like Pittsburgh last week, it's a 4-2-5 defense. Okay, they have a four-man front, two linebackers in the middle with a nickel back, not the Rock Band, but a nickel back here, kind of playing in an apex role here, two corners, two high free safety look. Okay, this is what they played a lot of against us when we were in 11 personnel, where we have one tight end and one running back in the game, like we have drawn up here on the board. Okay, a couple differences. If you remember last week, Pittsburgh also ran a version of the 4-2-5. They kept both of their ends to the outside of the tackle, and they played a shade technique and a 3 technique, kind of more of a vanilla base defense look. Florida State mixes it up a little bit. Defensive coordinator is very talented. Kind of mixed up the looks that we had to block against. So in this case, if you'll notice here, I got some of the circles here that represent the offensive linemen. I have them kind of shaded in. That kind of tells you a little bit about where these defensive tackles are lined up. So in this case, from left to right, you're going to have the defensive end playing in a 4-eye technique, which means he's going to be the inside shade of that tackle. You have two eyes in the middle, which those 2 eyes means they are in the inside shoulder of the guards here on both sides. And then you have a 5 technique to the weak side of the field. Okay, linebackers. The linebacker here is going to be playing in a 10 technique, which means he is in that shade, but at linebacker level. Okay, the other linebacker is in a 30 technique, which means he's on the outside of the guard, about 5-6 yards deep. And again, like I said, nickelback kind of hanging out in that apex area. He's initially going to be responsible for this, the back receiver in this stack formation. Cornerback is going to be responsible for the point man here. We have another cornerback over here lined up on Stephen Gosnell, and you're going to have 2 high safeties, strong and a free. Okay, so now we know the defensive lineup. Here's the trick. Tyler Bowen and the Virginia Tech offense need to come up with a way to get some of these defenders out of the play. We know exactly where we want to run it. We want to run this play in this little area right here, but we have to clear out some individuals. Okay, so how we're going to do this is we're going to send Xavier Turner Bradshaw here, number 5. He's going to go in an orbit motion, which is going to go around the back of the formation here. When that happens, this nickelback, who's got his responsibility, is going to go over the top, and he's going to mirror that motion. Okay, this does a couple of things for the Hokies. One, it tells us that it's a man coverage, which is great in this case. It also tells us that if we can execute this play properly, it should be a pretty significant gain for us. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do when the ball is snapped, okay, we have to get somebody else out of this middle here. Okay, usually linebackers in this situation will do what's called a cross read. Okay, that means this linebacker over here is going to be looking at this H-back over here on this side. So if he goes across the formation, he's going to be able to pick him up. Okay, this linebacker would be responsible for Malachi Thomas if he goes across the formation. Okay, again, adjustments happen if that doesn't work, but that's kind of what the linebackers are looking for in that situation. So Tyler Bowen, being a fairly intelligent offensive coordinator, I believe, knows that, and so we're going to get this extra linebacker here out of the play and out of the box. Okay, we're going to send Benji Gosnell here into the flats at the snap of the ball. That's going to bring this linebacker with him, and now he's out of the play completely. Okay, so now we kind of have the base of our play set up. Okay, we have numbers to the side of the field that we want to go, and we've moved people out of the way, so we kind of know exactly where we want this, how we want this play to continue to develop. Okay, with any screen, the most important part of the screen are going to be these 2 tackles. Okay, they're going to drift back and they're going to set up deep like it's a pass play. When they drop back and they set up deep, it's going to invite those defensive ends to rush to the outside, which is exactly what we want. We want to get them as far upfield as we can. They can't get far enough. Okay, because the more they come upfield, the more they're out of the play. Okay, our guards and tackles are also going to drop back. Okay, and they're going to set up 1 step deep. Okay, as soon as those guards in that center, as soon as they step backwards, okay, these 2 eyes are thinking, boom, I can go. Or I'm going to go right now and go get the quarterback. It also tells this other linebacker here that hasn't gone with the H-back in motion. Okay, I see pass. I'm going to drop back in my zone, in my coverage here, and I'm looking for people coming across the formation. Okay, these safeties are also going to drop back a little bit. Okay, they're going to drop back in their deep half of the field. They need to make sure to avoid any type of potential deep ball. Again, we are making them think it's 100% pass all the way. Okay, what's going to happen though is after we've invited this rush, okay, Daquan Felton is going to run an arrow to the middle of the field, and that's going to bring this cornerback with him. Okay, so now we've really truly cleared out this entire side of the field with the exception of this linebacker and this safety. Okay, Stephen Gosnell on the far side does a great job outside release. He's going to try to draw that free safety's attention over, as well as hold that cornerback in place on this side. So now that we've cleared out this entire side, now it's time to build our wall. Kind of like a kickoff return. We're trying to build a wall for our running back to run behind here. Okay, so Brody Meadows is going to be the first. They're all going to release at the same time, but Brody Meadows' first responsibility is going to be the first flat defender. Okay, Caden Moore is then going to release out, and he's going to pick up the next guy over, and it's probably going to be that linebacker scraping across, and then Bob Schick is going to release, and he's looking for anybody else coming in from the interior of the defense. Okay, now what about Kyron Jones? So the idea of a quarterback, again, we want to make you think in this play that it's a drop back pass. So he's going to take the snap and he's going to drop back 2 or 3 steps, and he may drift a little further. He may drift 4, 5, 6 steps back. He's trying to invite that rush. Hey, I got the ball. Come get me. Okay. Malachi Thomas is going to drift out here, drift into the formation, act like he's going to be in pass pro. Okay. He's stepping up into the play like I'm taking on any type of rush or anybody that's sneaking through. Then he's going to release to the left, and he's going to kind of set up in this zone out here. And now that we've invited the rush, they're out of the way. Drones has invited the rush. We're just going to float a nice little ball over here to Malachi Thomas, and he's off to the races. He's going to catch that ball on the flat and get upfield. If it hadn't been for getting his feet tangled up with Brody Meadows out there, this play could have gone for a touchdown, and then who knows what would have happened in the rest of the game. The idea with this play is that Tyler Bowen continues to go into his bag of tricks, to continue to devise and scheme ways to get our players the football in space, and not stick to the same old run it up the middle, run it up the middle, run it up the middle, and punt that we had been doing in previous weeks. So we're actually using misdirection. We're using motion. We're using all kinds of things to make the offense flow a little smoother. And even though we didn't have a whole lot of success in the first quarter, we controlled the clock through the second and the third quarter. We're able to put some points on the board. Actually, after Bashal Tutin's kickoff return, we're within 5 points at one point in the ball game. But it's plays like this that should leave every Hokie fan with a little bit of hope that the offense is going to become more efficient as these weeks progress and as we get more experience across the board. Remember, pretty much everybody on the Hokie side of the field, they're going to be able to come back next year for the most part. So as we keep building experience, we keep building repetitions in these plays, and we're going to continue to be successful. Okay. Thank you for joining me this week. I greatly appreciate you tuning into this series. For the Hokie Hitter of the Week, I'm Mike Holmes, contributor of the Sons of Saturday, and as always, go Hokies.